It's really fascinating, some of these questions that come up around what is Chinese art, what is Hong Kong art, and being from Hong Kong originally. I was born in Hong Kong, and my parents immigrated in '68, brought us, me and my sister, over to Canada, to Vancouver, and I grew up there in a space where being Chinese was something one had to negotiate, depending which part of town one grew up in. I grew up in a central area. It wasn't really an issue. I was just Chinese along with the Poles, along with the Germans, etc., right? And Japanese, and there was one black kid, and I don't think it was kind of tough for him. But then we moved to the west side, and all of a sudden being Chinese, being caught between native kids from the reserve and the white kids who were upper middle class, oh boy, I got it from both ends. And it became fraught to be Chinese. And that informed my upbringing, and that's when I had to first confront racism and so forth. And so when after I graduated from university with my BFA and all that, one of the big questions that one has to face is, what do you make work about? What kind of voice are you going to try to develop? Where do you find that voice? And so I kind of reached inside and dug for something that I hadn't really understood. And that's the way one makes work, right? One tackles questions. And so that led me to making artwork, as well as approaching a place called the Chinese Cultural Center in Vancouver, because it called itself a center for culture. And that led to this curatorial project called Self Not Whole, Chinese, whoops, I forgot the title, Cultural Identity and Chinese Canadian Artists in Vancouver. So that was an attempt to work with artists whose thematic dealt with cultural identity, who were working in a contemporary art vein. Now, placing that within the Chinese Cultural Center, where we had traditional dance and calligraphy and language courses, it hardly ever touched upon contemporary art forms, but that was part of the strategy to have people who would tap into an audience who would possibly get to the heart of the work through content. And if the forum was somewhat challenging, then hopefully there would be enough incentive to keep working at it and not be taken aback. It wasn't abstract work at all. But the inadequacies of dealing with such a ethno-specific and regionalist framework, which really helped focus the show. And the show was also performance program and reading program, educational program, English and Chinese language publicity strategies. This is bilingual as well. That led to Racy Sexy, which dealt with other more expansive identity politics, including race, culture, and sexuality. And then the limitations of that, which was a national project, resulted in City at the end of time to steal from Leung Ping Kwan's book, Hong Kong 1997, in which Choi Ji has an artwork. It was actually the one with all the desks. That was a lot of fun looking for all those old desks in Vancouver. And here's another more literary cultural publication that came out of our project through West Coast 9.
Actually the back is a book by Hiram.
That's right, that's Hiram Toe's project. So that's a bit of a preamble. And please, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. I'll work with you. You'll work with me. And I was debating whether or not I should show this, but I think I will, just because it's an older piece. 1997, Welcome to the Land of Light. And it's a public artwork. Come on. Oh, here we go. All right, so this was, Vancouver had an expo, World Expo in 1986. And after that expo, the land was purchased by Legacy out of Hong Kong, the real estate mogul, and developed False Creek North. It became Canada's first fiber optic community. It was also an interesting relationship with Hong Kong, given the real estate scare, with all the prices jumping up in the 80s. Vancouver's for a while called Hongcouver. And it's quite interesting because immigration from Hong Kong skyrocketed, and then after '97, just dropped. It just hasn't been of interest to Hong Kong people. Indian immigration has really jumped, and that's quite interesting. But this area, which was one of the largest downtown core areas for redevelopment in North America, was a $3 billion project that was going to last about 15 years, starting around 1989 or so. And I won this public art commission to build a permanent piece there. And here's the way I was looking at the time and some of the propaganda that went around it. I'm also very interested in language. I've worked with language on various occasions, and the west coast of North America, from Northern California all the way up to Alaska, from the coast all the way to the, you're nodding your head, you know about this, to the Rockies, there was this jargon, this pidgin. Some of you might have heard of it. You don't say anything, you probably know. Anybody know about this? Anyone from the Pacific Northwest? Chinook jargon? Does that ring a bell? Anyone heard the words skookum or muckamuck? No? It's not? Okay, those are funny words to you? Okay. It's a blend of Chinook, and the Chinook tribe is at the mouth of the Columbia River. Fort Astoria was set up there by the first traders from Boston. Nutkin, or Nuchalnuth, from Vancouver Island, English and French. So the Chinook had their infrastructure for trade all set up. They're really phenomenal traders. They were middlemen, except they were women. The Nutkins had the fast boats, so they had the cartage companies that brought the goods up and down the west coast. There are, what, 70, 80 languages along the west coast? First Nations languages, native languages. And then the English, of course, through the Americans from Boston, and then the French from up north, the Hudson's Bay Company and the Coureur de Bois brought in the French. And then depending on who was living in which part at that time, you would throw in some Chinese, you throw in some Swedish, you throw in whatever. It's a lingua franca. You get by, you say something, the other person doesn't get it, you say it another way, and it's because you have this desire to barter, to trade. Well, there's these books that were in 12, 14, 16 edition printings for people who wanted to come to the West Coast. So I had this language-based piece made of marine-grade aluminum. It's 100 meters long, 350 feet long, with fiber optic lighting on the floor, changes colors every few seconds at night. And it's called Welcome to the Land of Light, because it's a fiber optic infrastructure for telecommunications where everyone gets jacked in. You can turn on your gas fireplace from work, or that was part of the promise. You can check your television screen or your computer to see if someone's setting fire to the dumpster in your, at the base of your condo, that kind of stuff. And so there's English and the Chinook jargon. I took some of the propaganda from the telecommunications company, from the real estate company, from Tourism BC, from that kind of stuff. But the promise of technology and how you can control the world and how the future is in your hand. Had that translated into Chinook jargon, had it translated back into English, and that's what you have here. So it's an older piece. The idea is from '94. Okay, so who has watched this show? Yay! They're not friends of mine, but they're really famous, and I didn't ever have that kind of lifestyle when I went to grad school at UC Irvine. But it was pretty amazing how affluent that area is. I think, what, the average income for Laguna Beach is $169,000 as of 2003. It's pretty amazing. It's not what university professors tend to get. And I didn't get to live in this place either, with the golf course between myself and the beautiful ocean. I'm not too sure where that is. Corona del Mar, maybe? I don't know. But anyways, that's Orange County, right? Or that's what's known as Central South Orange County. And this is another place I've been to. And I was interested because one of my former advisors, Lorraine O'Brady, who's in the WAC show that's traveling around North America, sent me this article from the New York Times talking about this developer from Beijing who had contacted Orange County master planner and interior designer and landscape architect to build an authentic Orange County experience on the 6th Ring Road near where the Olympic Village is now in Beijing. And it was interesting the kind of imagery that they used to promote this place and the racination of American. right, as being white. And I guess he represents China in some way. And this, it's really interesting the kind of architecture they choose, right? Oh, and everyone had a wine cellar, a huge wine cellar. And that's actually part of the model home. The interesting thing was you can buy an authentic Orange County, Californian house that was called Spanish, or French, or Italian. Those are your choices. So it says a lot about simulacrum and the absence of a source, of an origin.
At Orange County Development, they actually shifted tiles, flooring, everything from Orange County for that.
You know about this?
Yeah.
Did you work for Lacosian?
It was there with us.
Oh, you checked it out?
They went through every detail of the homes in Orange County and did the exact same companies for tiles, flooring, name it.
What in the world is authentic Orange County you need?
Just go down there and look at it.
Here's some images from their website, Sinacia is the company. And what was really interesting is once you got into the gate and this is phase one. Phase one, the houses were about $500,000 US. And they had townhouses as well. Like a lot of Californian gated communities, you weren't allowed to really adorn your house or have toys lying outside or have your laundry drying outside or have paint your anything outside of the official colors. But here's an example of some gesture, some exuberant expression of cultural identity. Okay, and we're getting to my piece there. And what was really interesting going through the model home for phase two, which went for about $1.2 million, and of course a lot of people pay all cash, and it was all Chinese nationals. There were no foreigners in this. Not that they were excluded, they just didn't, they were bought out by the locals before. And of course, well-to-do people, business people, movie stars, people in the entertainment industry actually were really interested in this, I guess because of some relationship to California and Hollywood perhaps. But the family photos everywhere inside the model home, and they had 2 kids' rooms, interestingly enough. One for a boy, one for a girl. The boys' room had cars and stuff, pictures of cars, and the girls' bed had ballet slippers on the bed. It was very interesting, given the one-child policy. But the pictures around the house of the family, everywhere, were from The Sopranos. And I asked the hostess, do you know this family? Oh, it's just an American family. They're a famous American family. So this is the project that I ended up working on. It's a 4-channel video projection. It's a surround piece. There's, we'll let it run. This part's about 3.5 minutes. We got a few time-based things. I hope it's okay. Oh. Way to turn down some of the lights in here? No? Thanks. Two of the houses are from California, 2 are from China. Can you figure out which one? When I show this piece elsewhere, people can't figure it out. Show it down here, yeah, in California. You get a certain color, a certain kind of sky. Also, you guys know that the leaves don't fall off the trees here, and the grass is never brown. No, not in a plan to do.
The stick figure trees and the green grass.
That's not China. This is actually in the Alps. I did a project that didn't look at mirroring the same way, but looked at transference of identity that moved from Italy for the Olympics in 2006 to where I live in Vancouver, because we get the Winter Games in 2010, and it's an interesting kind of brand identity that keeps moving from spot to spot with a whole set of desires and excuses that come along for urban regeneration and displacement of a lot of people, and incredible influx of capital, none of which is accountable because it's a privately controlled organism. But whatever, I won't get into that too much. Do I sound sarcastic? I don't know. So here's Torino 2006, a lot of reconstruction, very interesting during that time. And you know, that's what all cities want. They want to constantly be building. They don't want to stop, they just want to keep building. Ice Palace, and that Olympic oval is beautiful. People dress up really funny during the Olympics. There's a ski jump. What were they thinking? Their mascots were an ice cube and a snowball. They didn't sell too many of those mascots. This is the British Columbia Pavilion. You can see Vancouver 2010 there, a lot of promotion. They spent an awful lot of money on these things. Inside that pavilion was lots of wood, of course, from the West Coast, a big video projection, mostly of Toronto, even though it's in Vancouver. And upstairs was a Hudson's Bay store. That it's a department store that has been part of the Hudson Bay Company that's been around for 350 years or so, and just recently got bought up by an American company. So it's the well, this is what keeps happening. And the funny thing about this souvenir store was they had all these Olympic outfits that were shipped over from Canada, and they kept the same price tags on it. It's the same price tags, but the Canadian dollar compared to the euro is about 40% less. So I guess that was the markup. And this guy was for real. I asked him. He's from Quebec. And this is the website for the 2010 Vancouver Games. And what this project does, there's a software program that monitors the popularity for both websites. I shot video in both places, edited down to about 14 minutes or so of each location, and then this created this video where there's 40 different opportunities for this video to play back clips from either location, always starting from a master shot, medium shot, close-up, master shot, medium shot, close-up, as this character moves through the Olympic space of both cities. So every time it plays differently, depending on how the software, well, depending on the popularity of programs. And this is edited down to 3 minutes, so it's very, very short. And has fixed. Squish. It's supposed to be 16 by 9, but something happened. I don't know. That's the problem with that, transcoding all these new video codecs. So this is a very recent project I'm going to talk. Any questions so far about anything? Okay, this is a project that's currently on show in the Okanagan. Has anyone heard of the Okanagan? You have? Have you been to the Okanagan?
No, but my former chairman of department located to the branch campus of UBC in that area.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Who's that?
Bernard Bauer,
Oh, okay.
the dean.
Oh, oh, okay. Is this playing by itself? No. The Okanagan is British Columbia's main wine growing region, and I was invited by a gallery there to do a residency and mentor some younger artists, part of this kind of program that they do in the summer. And while I was there, I basically approached it as just a chance to do some research. And they asked me, what would you like to do it on? And they kept bugging me, and I was going, I don't know. Well, I might as well do it on wine because I like wine. And they managed to find all this other money to make the whole project happen. And so this became Napa North. It's interesting how Napa as a brand gets thrown around in the same way that California used the word Chablis for quite some time back in the 70s to sell their white wine. It didn't have to be like Burgundian, which is where Chablis is. It didn't have to be Chardonnay, which is how Chablis, or what Chablis are made of in France. But it was just this generic label for white wine. And then eventually they weren't allowed to use that. But California has since grown in its reputation where it has gone and marketed itself. And other places have, appropriated Californian-isms. And so British Columbia has been doing that. Interesting also, Ontario has done that a little bit. But it sort of just makes sense that you use something that's identifiable. So Napa North is, in a sense, a portrait, and it's actually literally, in some ways, a documentary about the shifts and changes in not just the wine industry, but also the shift from agricultural to urban in that area. It's also the shift from working class to luxury lifestyle living, and the way it's being marketed as a playground for the rich as opposed to a playground for the middle class. And wine has a very strategic role to play in that upscaling. So there's a series of photographs, and there's a 3-channel video, and there's a wine tasting bar, custom designed wine tasting bar. And there are these opportunities to have wine tastings. And the whole reason behind that is the traditional, by now traditional strategy of conviviality, if you want to refer to relational aesthetics, whatever. Opportunities for people to get together, and through this other act, perhaps would hopefully come out. People go there to do the wine tastings. I should hurry?
Yeah, you're up 30 minutes, so
Oh,
we,
really?
we want to see your work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, here's a bunch of pictures. So, I want to go back a little bit. This is up north, and they're putting in a vineyard with the development. This is a resort. I went swimming in December when it was snowing. I couldn't believe how extravagant it was to do. This is part of the native development. There's the Osoyoos Indian Band. I worked with them. I got because when I walked in, one of the urban planners was staring at it, and he was going, you know, all that's going to go. And he was pointing out all the flora, the very sensitive. It dug out, right? It's pretty obvious to him. I was just looking at it. It's just hand native. Take anything else. Totem pole. Installation.
Right here on Tsang, be just south of the display street where we are now. We're having a transfer of wealth coming in. And they're either, looking to downsize, but are also looking for secondary residence as well. And so there's that. Branch out from, their urban.
The Concord he's referring to is the same Legassing company.
The same. So, that means you're there. And that plays into the part that of us wants to rest, relax, and play.
It's harder to find workers every year. It's harder to find people that'll work for $10 an hour. Therefore, you have to supply accommodations. So we made a point of having really good accommodations where they have their own stove, They've got showers, they've got washer dryers, and they've gone to Mexico this year. You know, they brought up Mexicans to help on farms. Most of our labor this year's come from Quebec. We have a gentleman from El Salvador that works for us regularly. So I mean, there's people from all over the world that, you know, they come, and it's an experience for them too, right? So in the last 7 years, we've only had 2 profitable years. We've had years where we've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars just from poor pricing. An average year is a break-even year for us, where there's no profit involved at all.
You know, we wanted to leave something for our kids, and our kids, they're not going to be farmers like we are. But you know, the odds are that out of one of the kids, one of them will want to come into the wine business, and then they can take over for us when we're ready to move on to bigger and better pastures.
We are up to, in Oliver, I know an orchard just changed hands, not even planted with grapes yet, for $122,000 per acre, and there's no grapes planted yet. So let's say it costs you another $10,000 to put the grapes in. So $132,000 an acre, you'll get 5 tons an acre at the most. So that's 300 cases. 300 cases out of, leaving 122,000, that's what, 300, it's about 312, 40, $400 per case. Okay, so you have to sell your wine for $400 a case just to break even. Just to break even. So 400 divided by 12 is $30, $35 a bottle right there. Now, are you gonna make really good wine? Yeah. Yeah, that's your cost without the profit. That's right. That's just to break even and not pay for it. Say you had to borrow to buy that land, not servicing that either.
I don't have a word for luxury. It would just be like for the best, that lejas, okay, luxury community. So we have a wine over there that's called Pampum, which means excellence. So anything that's above greatest excellence, Pampum. And I've had problems with this with other people. I always said that Pampum pertains to food, but other people says it. Since I'm not the maker of the language, Pampum can pertain to other things that's of excellence. Pampum senilitintet, elitentet, ett skitkamstem, ett skitkamstem.
Yeah, no, they don't want to dress it up too much because there's no point. It's not romantic. There's no vineyard. It's no beautiful. You know.
This is real. This is where it gets made.
It's real, man.
It's actually rare for me to see a machinery that's older. Most of the wineries up there too, everything's all gleaming and built in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and they're little guys. They just go things. You know, this is a major big winery. That, you know, this is what most big wineries don't want you to see because it's not part of the romance. But it is what makes money. It's, you know, efficiency of bottling. It doesn't mean the wine's any lower quality or anything because of this. You know, it's how you execute makes the wine good wine.
Our language doesn't describe anything being destroyed or the environment being destroyed. In our language, everything is respect. You respect the air, you respect the waters, you respect the ground. First of all, your greatest respect is for the grandchildren you put us in the hut. And then your next respect is for your parents, your elders, and then the next comes the animals and the plants. And you never overhunt, overfish. If you respect everything, that means you do everything not to its maximum, to the minimum.
Should I cut it off? I could talk about the Dubai project, or I could just...
Everybody's really interested in Dubai. We are out of time, but if you can, could you run the video for Dubai?
No, it's just pictures. I could play, you just play the pictures?
Sure.
Okay. This is a project I'm working, I'll just do 2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, this is a project I'm working with a research team on. There's scholars, human geographer, historian, poet, other artists, new media artists, looking at the phenomenon in Dubai with the replication of the False Creek that you saw earlier in Vancouver. Here's a very famous aerial photograph of one of the 3 palms that Dubai built right after 9/11. And part of that plan was to capture the Arab money that they knew was going to start coming back from the West. There's $750 billion that they knew could potentially be targeted as terrorist related and therefore frozen. And they've since 9/11 have brought back more than that amount in investment in Dubai specifically. This is Vancouver, there's False Creek, the waterway there where Expo, what used to be, and it's all being developed with the residential steel and glass towers. This is Sheikh Zayed Road in Dubai around 1970. And this is how it looks 4 years ago, 3 years ago. It's been a lot of growth. You've probably seen pictures of this too, or some of you have. The self-proclaimed 7-star hotel, when only 5 stars are ever given out. This is the new Burj Dubai, and the tallest building in the world. I think it's already the tallest. It's going to sort of look like that pretty soon. And hyperbolic everything. Language, buildings, construction. It's a mess to navigate. Do not even think about renting a car when you're there. That's what we did the first time. That was a mistake. This is the False Creek that they're building, and basically parts of it are already done, and it looks just like Vancouver's. The handrail is similar, not exactly the same, but similar. The seawall walkway is one of the main features of this place that the developers, some of who were headhunted from Vancouver and brought over to Dubai to work on the project. That has spawned other projects with the same kind of strategy. Basically, it was a Hong Kong-related development in Vancouver. That model is now being used throughout the Middle East and Southeast Asia. And one of the people who was brought over is now working with a portfolio of $264 billion of different projects. It's incredible how ideas can flourish in this neoliberal age. And it's very interesting to see emerging markets, emerging countries expand with such exponential growth. Yours truly, I would advise going there between May and September. That was really hot. So more of the seawall walkway. Our proposal is to create a public art simultaneous interactive experience in Vancouver seawall walkway as well as Dubai's seawall walkway, and have opportunities where you will actually see and be able to communicate with people not just a few hundred meters down the way, but also 12 time zones away.